Stop everything you're doing right now because the internet is literally melting down. We have just received some absolutely jaw-dropping reports coming straight out of the Harris household. And trust me, this is not the news anyone was expecting. We've seen the ups and downs of T.I. and Tiny over the years, the reality shows, the legal battles, the public spats, but what just went down between them is on a completely different level. Rumors are swirling, and sources close to the family are claiming that a physical altercation broke out, leaving fans in absolute disbelief. The headline everyone is screaming about? Tiny Harris allegedly slapped T.I. across the face in a heated confrontation. But the slap isn't even the biggest part of this story. The real bombshell, the one that's threatening to tear this hip-hop dynasty apart at the seams, revolves around a DNA test that is set to change everything we thought we knew about their family tree. For years, the world has known Zonnique Pullins as Tiny's daughter from a previous relationship. T.I. has been the stepfather figure, the pops of the house. But now, whispers are turning into roars that a secret DNA test is about to reveal a truth so scandalous it sounds like a movie script. Is T.I. actually Zonnique's biological father? If this is true, we are talking about decades of secrets, hidden motives, and a web of lies that has finally reached its breaking point. Why now? What triggered this sudden DNA reveal? And what exactly led Tiny to lose her cool and get physical with the King of the South? We are breaking down every single detail, from the moment the tension boiled over to the legal implications of this massive revelation. Stay tuned, because the Harris family legacy is hanging by a thread, and we have the inside scoop on the drama that's rocking Atlanta right now. The digital world is currently in a state of absolute meltdown, and for once, the headlines aren't just clickbait, they are catastrophic. For years, we have watched T.I. and Tiny Harris navigate the treacherous waters of the hip-hop industry, surviving cheating scandals, legal battles, and public breakups. But what allegedly transpired behind the closed doors of their Atlanta estate recently has shifted the ground beneath their feet forever. According to multiple inside sources and eyewitnesses close to the family circle, a standard evening turned into a battlefield where the King of the South finally met a storm he couldn't talk his way out of. The reports coming in are jarring. Tiny Harris, a woman known for her ride-or-die loyalty and incredible patience throughout decades of public scrutiny, reportedly reached her breaking point and physically slapped T.I. during a high-stakes confrontation that has left the industry speechless. This wasn't just a momentary lapse in judgment or a typical lover's quarrel that we've seen played out on reality television. This was the result of a pressure cooker finally exploding after years of suppressed secrets. For weeks, tension had been simmering under the surface regarding the family's history and the true lineage of Tiny's eldest daughter, Zonnique Pullins, and it seems that the truth has finally clawed its way into the light. We've all grown up watching Zonnique on our screens, always introduced as Tiny's daughter from a previous relationship with Zonnique Pullins, while T.I. consistently stepped into the role of Pops, the protective stepfather who raised her as his own with fierce dedication. But the slap that echoed through their home wasn't about a lack of respect. It was about a shattering betrayal of truth that threatens to dismantle the entire Harris dynasty. The argument allegedly ignited when Tiny discovered a set of old medical records and legal documents that T.I. had supposedly kept hidden in a private safe for over 20 years. Documents that hint at a reality contradicting everything the public and Zonnique herself have been told since her birth. The confrontation grew so intense that neighbors reportedly heard the shouting before the physical altercation took place, marking a dark turn for a couple that has always tried to maintain a united front. When Tiny allegedly struck T.I., it wasn't just out of anger. It was the visceral reaction of a mother realizing that the man she shared her life with might have been harboring a secret that fundamentally alters the identity of her firstborn child. The central question haunting the music industry and social media right now is why Tiny would react so violently over Zonnique's paternity after all this time. The theory gaining the most traction is that T.I. might actually be Zonnique's biological father, a fact that would imply a secret affair happened long before they officially became the power couple we know today. If T.I. is indeed the biological father, it means decades of gaslighting, hidden DNA results, and a carefully constructed narrative that forced Zonnique to grow up believing her father was someone else entirely. The weight of that lie, the years of deception, and the realization that her daughter's life was built on a foundation of myths is what reportedly led to that viral slap. T.I., known for his legendary way with words and his ability to articulate his way out of any situation, was reportedly left speechless as Tiny laid out the evidence on the table. For a man who always has an answer for everything, he had no defense against the raw evidence that suggested he had manipulated the very fabric of their family tree to maintain a certain public image or perhaps to avoid a scandal earlier in his career. This isn't just about a marriage falling apart. It's about a legacy being questioned at its core, as the Harris family has always prided itself on being an open book through their various reality shows. Now, they are facing their darkest chapter yet, and the atmosphere in Atlanta is thick with speculation and disbelief. The SLAP was merely the catalyst, the spark that lit the fuse, but the DNA test is the weapon that is about to level the entire house. As the dust settles from this initial physical altercation, the legal teams are already moving in, and the tension within the household has reached a point of no return. Zonnique, who is now a mother herself and has her own family to protect, is reportedly caught in the crossfire of a truth that could redefine her entire existence and her relationship with the man she called Pops for nearly 30 years. Did T.I. know the truth all along and choose to hide it to protect his brand? Did he manipulate the situation to ensure he remained the patriarch without the complications of a scandalous beginning? Or was Tiny also a victim of a deep-cover deception that she is only just now uncovering? Every social media platform is currently flooded with fans dissecting old photos, looking for physical similarities between T.I. and Zonnique that they might have missed over the years. People are going back to old episodes of their reality shows, searching for clues in the way T.I. interacted with her, wondering if his overprotective nature was actually the instinct of a biological father rather than a stepfather. The betrayal felt by Tiny is said to be immeasurable, as she has stood by T.I. through prison sentences, cheating rumors, and countless controversies, only to find out that the biggest secret in the house was about her own child. The silence from the Harris camp is deafening, which only adds fuel to the fire, as fans wait for a formal statement that may never come. Instead, the focus has shifted to the impending DNA results that are expected to be leaked or released any day now. This is a high-stakes game of chess where the pieces are being knocked off the board one by one, and the Queen has finally decided to strike back. As we look deeper into the timeline of their relationship, the math starts to raise even more eyebrows, leading many to believe that the truth was hidden to protect T.I.'s rising career in the early 2000s. Back then, an image was everything, and a complicated paternity scandal could have derailed the momentum of the king. But now, in an era where the truth always finds a way out, the walls are closing in. The SLAP was a signal to the world that the era of secrets is over. Tiny is no longer playing the role of the silent supporter. She is a woman on a mission for the truth, regardless of how much damage it does to the Harris name. This initial explosion is just the beginning of a saga that will likely dominate headlines for months to come, as we wait to see how a family built on such a public platform handles a revelation of this magnitude. The emotional toll is already visible, with sources claiming the house is divided, with children taking sides and the very foundation of their home life crumbling under the weight of the what-ifs. If the DNA confirms what everyone is whispering, the fallout will be permanent, and the SLAP heard around Atlanta will be remembered as the moment the king's crown finally fell. The silence that followed the alleged physical altercation at the Harris estate was even more deafening than the shout that preceded the SLAP, as the gravity of the situation began to settle into the very bones of the family's foundation. Reports indicate that the confrontation didn't end with the physical outburst. Instead, it transitioned into a cold, clinical battle involving legal papers and medical files that had been gathering dust in the shadows of T.I.'s private office for far too long. Sources close to the inner circle claim that Tiny has already begun the process of consulting with high-level forensic specialists to verify the authenticity of the documents she uncovered, which supposedly include a paternity test conducted nearly 2 decades ago that was never filed with the courts. The atmosphere in the house is described as a war zone, with T.I. retreating into his creative studio while Tiny remains locked in discussions with her legal team and advisors, determined to unravel the web of lies that has dictated her daughter's life. Zonnique Pullins, who has always been the heart of this blended family, is reportedly devastated by the sudden shift in the narrative she has called home since she was a toddler. For years, the public story was simple. Zonnie Pullins was her biological father, and T.I. was the man who stepped up to fill the void. But these new allegations suggest that the Pop's title might have been a cover for a biological reality that T.I. wasn't ready to face publicly at the height of his career. The implications of this are massive, not just for the emotional well-being of the children, but for the legal standing of the entire Harris estate. If T.I. is indeed the biological father, it raises questions about why the truth was suppressed, and whether there were financial or contractual reasons involving Tiny's past that made a secret paternity more convenient than the truth. Insiders suggest that Tiny's rage isn't just about the identity of Zonnique's father, but about the fact that she was potentially made a partner in a lie without her full knowledge of the consequences it would have on her daughter's future. As news of the DNA revelation spreads through the industry, old associates of the couple are beginning to whisper about the early days of Escape and the Grand Hustle era, recalling moments where the lines between friendship and romance were notoriously blurred. Some claim that there were always whispers in the Atlanta underground about Zonnique's striking resemblance to the King of the South. But because of T.I.'s fierce reputation and the couple's power in the city, no one dared to speak the truth out loud. Now that the lid has been blown off, those whispers have turned into a roar that T.I. can no longer silence with a clever rhyme or a charismatic interview. The DNA results, which are expected to be the final nail in the coffin of this secret, are reportedly being held by a third-party laboratory under strict confidentiality. But the leaks coming from the Harris camp suggest that a 99.9 match is exactly what Tiny is bracing for. The betrayal is felt even more sharply because of how much Tiny has sacrificed for the Harris name, having stood by T.I. through every legal hurdle and public scandal imaginable, only to realize that the most intimate detail of her own motherhood might have been manipulated. Friends of the couple say that Tiny feels as though her entire history has been rewritten, and she is no longer interested in protecting the brand at the expense of her daughter's right to the truth. She has reportedly moved several of her personal belongings out of their shared bedroom and into a separate wing of the house, signaling a level of distance that even their previous separation filings didn't achieve. T.I., on the other hand, is said to be scrambling to contain the damage, reaching out to PR fixers and digital security experts to prevent the full medical file from reaching the hands of major news outlets. But in the age of viral leaks, the truth is proving to be a force even he cannot control. Every move the couple makes is being watched by millions of eyes, as fans analyze their recent social media activity for any sign of a reconciliation or a final break. However, the lack of family hustle unity is telling, with the other children reportedly feeling the strain of the household tension as they watch their parents navigate a scandal that could change their inheritance and their family tree forever. The focus now shifts toward the official confirmation, as Tiny's lawyers have reportedly served T.I. with a formal demand for a new, court-supervised DNA test to settle the matter once and for all under the eyes of the law. This isn't just a rumor anymore. It's a legal chess match where the stakes are the identity of a young woman and the integrity of a man who built a career on speaking the truth. The next few days are expected to be the most critical in the history of the Harris family, as the DNA expected to reveal T.I. as the real father becomes a reality that no amount of money or fame can hide. The shockwaves from the DNA revelation have moved beyond the walls of the Harris estate and are now reshaping the very legacy that T.I. and Tiny spent decades building in the spotlight. As the reality of the situation sets in, the conversation has shifted from the physical confrontation to the profound emotional and legal consequences for Zonnique Pullins, who finds herself at the center of a storm she never asked for. Sources close to Zonnique suggest that she is currently taking a leave of absence from social media to process the fact that her biological history may have been a carefully guarded secret managed by the man she always viewed as her stepfather. For a woman who has recently started her own journey into motherhood, the weight of this discovery is compounded by the realization that her own child's lineage is now part of this complex puzzle. The betrayal isn't just felt by Tiny. It is a multi-generational fracture that threatens to alienate the children from the patriarch who they once looked up to as the ultimate truth-teller and protector of the family unit. In the streets of Atlanta and across the music industry, the narrative of the King of the South is being scrutinized like never before, with many questioning if the image of the principled, family-oriented leader was merely a brand designed to mask a history of deep-seated deception. Legal experts are weighing in on the potential for a massive shift in the Harris estate's inheritance structure, as a confirmed biological link between T.I. and Zonnique would legally categorize her among his primary heirs, a status she previously held only through marriage and affection. This financial implication is reportedly one of the many reasons the atmosphere remains so volatile, as the other Harris children grapple with a new reality where their family tree has been uprooted and replanted in a matter of days. Tiny, meanwhile, has reportedly stopped wearing her wedding ring in public, a silent but powerful statement that the SLAP was just the beginning of a much larger exit strategy from a marriage that she now views as being built on a foundation of sand. The public outcry has been split between those who sympathized with Tiny's explosive reaction and those who are waiting for T.I. to break his silence with one of his trademark intellectual defenses. But so far, the silence from his camp has been deafening. This lack of a rebuttal is being interpreted by many as a tacit admission of guilt, further fueling the fire of the DNA reports that continue to leak through various entertainment news outlets. As the family moves toward a future that looks nothing like the one they portrayed on The Family Hustle, the brand they built together is rapidly losing its luster. The trust that fans placed in their realness has been shattered, replaced by a fascination with the scandalous truth that was hidden in plain sight for over 20 years. Whether the family can ever truly reconcile remains to be seen, but the damage to their collective reputation is likely permanent, as the world watches the final chapters of this hip-hop dynasty unfold in the most public and painful way possible. Zonnique's journey toward finding her own truth is now the focal point of the narrative, as she reportedly seeks independent counsel to navigate the legal and emotional minefields ahead. The Harris name, once a symbol of unity and overcoming the odds, is now a cautionary tale about the cost of keeping secrets in an age where the truth is the ultimate currency. As the final DNA results are expected to be officially confirmed in the coming weeks, the SLAP that started this media firestorm will be remembered as the moment the facade finally cracked, revealing a reality that no one saw coming. The king's crown may still be on his head, but the throne is colder than ever, and the queen has moved on to a game where she finally holds all the cards. The story of T.I., Tiny, and Zonnique has reached its point of no return, leaving a legacy defined not by the music or the fame, but by the undeniable power of a truth that could no longer be contained. But wait, the story doesn't end here, and we want to hear from you. Is this the end of the Harris family dynasty as we know it? Do you think Tiny was justified in her reaction? Or is there more to T.I.'s side of the story that we haven't heard yet? And the biggest question of all, if the DNA results confirm what we're all thinking, how does Zonnique move forward from a lifetime of secrets? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We are reading every single one, and we want to know whose side you're on in this Atlanta showdown. If you found this breakdown explosive, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to the channel right now. Turn on those post notifications so you never miss a single update, because as soon as those official DNA documents hit the public, you'll hear it here first. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next chapter in this unfolding scandal.